Dr. Ramakrishna, sir, are you there? Dr. Ramakrishna, sir, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Sir, let us allow few more minutes. Students are still reading.
No problem, sir. I can wait. No problem.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, carry on, sir. Carry on.
మీరు ఉంటేనే వెళ్తారు. Dr. Ramakrishna, sir, can we start? Shall we start, sir? Dr. Ramakrishna sir, shall we start?
Sir, do you have some program before we begin?
Yes, sir. Dedication. It will take only couple of minutes, sir.
Please go ahead. Please, you can start
okay.
that, sir.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, Dr. Ramakrishna Adury and dear students and other participants. Now I welcome you all to the 9th day and 16th session of NIT Andhra Pradesh Induction Program 2020. As usual, we are going to dedicate this particular session to Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. As you can see his pictures on the screen, M.S. Swaminathan was born in Kumbakonam, Tamil Nadu on 7th August 1925. He was the second son of surgeon Dr. M.K. Sambasivan and Parvati Tangammal Sambasivan. Coming from a family of doctors, he naturally took admission in a medical school. But when he witnessed the Great Bengal Famine of 1943, he decided to devote his life to getting rid of hunger from India. He simply switched from the medical field to the agricultural field. Swaminathan then decided to pursue a career in agricultural sciences. He enrolled in Madras Agricultural College, where he graduated as valedictorian with another Bachelor of Science degree, this time in agricultural science. In 1947, he moved to the Indian Agricultural Research Institute, IARI, in New Delhi as a postgraduate student in genetics and plant breeding. He obtained a postgraduate degree with his distinction in cytogenics in the year 1949. He wrote the Union Public Service Commission exam and qualified for the Indian Police Service. Swaminathan is known for his role in India's Green Revolution, a program under which high yield varieties of wheat and rice were planted. Swaminathan has been called the father of Green Revolution in India for his role in introducing and further developing high yielding varieties of wheat in India. He is the founder of the MS Swaminathan Research Foundation. His stated vision is to rid the world of hunger and poverty. Swaminathan is an advocate of moving India to sustainable development, especially using environmentally sustainable agricultural, sustainable food security, and the preservation of biodiversity, which he calls as an evergreen revolution. Swaminathan has worked worldwide in collaboration with colleagues and students on a wide range of problems in basic and applied plant breeding, agricultural research and development, and the conservation of natural resources. He was one of the 3 from India included in Time magazine's 1999 list of the 20 most influential Asian people of the 20th century. The other 2 being Mahatma Gandhi and Rabindranath Tagore. This is the brief timeline of Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. Now, I would like to introduce today's guest speaker of this particular session. It is Dr. Ramakrishna Adury. Ramakrishna Adury is a resource person for leading publishing houses in India, such as Oxford University Press, Eschand, Viva Education, Frank Education, and he is actively with Orient Black Swan Private Limited. He started his career as a school teacher at Little Flowers High School, Hyderabad. He is a resource person at NCERT and Indian Association of Physics Teachers in Pune. He was also the director of e-learning division of Narayana Group of Institutions. He is a guest faculty at Osmania University Human Resource Development Center and delivers lectures for teacher educators. He conducts workshops for teacher educators on communicative skills, professional development, integrity ICT tools in teaching mathematics, physical sciences, and teaching methodology. He can set up an English language learning laboratory and provide online resources for learning English using technology. He has guided a number of students appearing for International Baccalaureate Diploma Program in Theory of Knowledge and extended essay drafting and presentations. He has trained the teaching staff of several leading schools in India and elsewhere of all kinds of boards on content enrichment, delivery mechanism, and technology integration. He has published a book, on good teaching in action. He has trained the principals, administrators of several institutions and religious minority institutions on leadership in action. He is on the advisory boards of several institutions of repute. He is a resource person for Birla Education Trust in Pilani. He has done extensive work in incorporating technology in classroom. He uses technology such as Java applets, simulations, class animations, videos, and PowerPoint presentations in teaching different school subjects. He has published a book, Let's Play the Games of Physics. He has conducted faculty development programs at several professional colleges. He has written a number of articles on education for vernacular magazines. He has a doctorate in mathematics and qualifications in physics, English, and education. He has a professional level diploma in training from the University of Cambridge. He is trained in SQAA and for assessments by CEAER at Center for British Teachers. With this brief introduction about Dr. Ramakrishna Adury, and he's now going to deliver his lecture on the academia and industry interface, project-based learning, etc. Sir, the session is yours now. Please continue with delivering your talk.
Thank you very much for those kind words. And sir, I want to share.
Sure, sir. Please let me make you the presenter. Sir, you are the presenter now. Please try sharing your.
Just checking. Yes, sir. 1 minute.
Sure, sir. Please take your time.
I hope this is visible, sir. And
yes, sir, they are visible. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I welcome all the students who have joined a prestigious institution, NIT at Andhra Pradesh. And you have come to a wonderful place where you can hone all kinds of skills. And I really appreciate, of course, you must be meritorious students for having come to a wonderful place, and you are going to do well. And this is actually a transition time for all those who are doing the professional courses. Several things are going to happen in the next 4 years. By the time you complete your course, and you will come out well, and you are going to be truly professionals. You are with wonderful faculty members and a prestigious institution, of course, NIT. And if you ask me, of course, who am I? I should, truth be told, I belong to West Godavari district, and I have come to Hyderabad and settled here long ago. And I train teachers in some parts of the world apart from India. And yeah, it's my passion to train teachers and guide students, particularly those who are preparing for the civil services examinations. And that's my core. And why should one come to a premier institution like IITs, IIMs, and NITs? You get excellent classmates. Apart from the faculty members, you are going to meet classmates who are equally intelligent. Therefore, there are intellectual discussions taking place in the classroom, and you learn a lot from the peer group. It is not just from the faculty members. You also learn from your classmates a lot when you do some collaborative projects. NITs have got a distinct advantage. They have got real-time projects. And there are several opportunities, of course, will be provided for the personality development. You will have so many guest faculty coming and training you and preparing you, of course, for the profession, apart from the academics, the scholastic area. And NITs have got another advantage, of course. They talk about the higher order thinking skills. It's the application, analysis, evaluation, making a judgment, and innovation or creativity. And therefore, that's a right place for all the students to make good of, to make advantage of all the facilities you have, all the resources you have there. And NITs particularly, they put in use the case studies approach. Generally, we ask students, why do you want an IIT? Of course, they say in a chaste language, जो भी जाता है एक IIT को, उसको एक बाप मिलेगा. That's the reason, of course, people want IITs and NITs. The reason is quite simple. If you think that you are an expert in a particular field, you find another person who is better than you, then you go to a premier institution. I repeat my point. If you think that you are best in a particular field, maybe a dance or a music or anything, and you will find someone, of course, who is superior to you. Therefore, you get humbled. And that's the reason you must be at a premier institution. The case studies and the project-based learning, the industry exposure, all these things perhaps will make you a complete professional. And therefore, you must be there and you are at the right place. And also, NITs will give you an opportunity to choose a variety of optionals. Unlike other institutions where you have limited number of subjects, NITs will give you an array of, a wide array of subjects. You can specialize, you can pick them up. I tell you, why should you have that? Because the world is changing very rapidly. Let me tell you honestly, people are talking about big data analytics, deep neural networks, artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud computing, and all. Let me tell you honestly one thing. By the time you complete your engineering in just say 4 years, all these core branches of engineering, they just merge into one. They reach a point of emaciation. There is nothing like, okay, mechanical, there is nothing like civil and all that. All engineering branches will just trigger into, like another domain completely and all that. Like therefore, see, you are in the transition period. You are very fortunate to be the beginners and the pioneers. And now, therefore, you are very lucky. You are at the right place. You are at the right faculty members, and take advantage of that one. I just want to give you an idea what exactly you should be doing during these 4 years of time. Unlike the colleges you studied and the schools you studied, this is such a beautiful institution, and it will expose you to the world. I repeat my point. You will learn about your life at an NIT. And now, the first point I want to tell you that, see, today's, my session, the academia and industry interface, you can't alienate one from the other. Whatever you are learning in the college must find an application in the industry. And therefore, you will go to the industry, you start working there on a real-time project. And therefore, you get the conceptual clarity, and that makes an indelible impression on the mind. And whatever you are learning, when you go to an industry and try there, it is a kind of reinforcement. And therefore, you see, colleges are not just colleges. You are connected to the industry. You go there. You understand how the systems work there. And you do your practical there. You look at the manipulative there. And therefore, don't think it is only learning. It is learning coupled with working. And that's what you should take advantage. When I look at some of the students in IITs, let me tell you how smart they are. They learn something in the morning, by evening they want to sell it. This is my knowledge. Where can I apply it? How can I convert that into some kind of pecuniary benefits? How can I make money? And therefore, all the time your vision should be learning, earning, learning, earning. This is only the buzzword actually. Like, and therefore, it is not you all the time you focus on only learning, and make sure that you are industry connected and make some money while you are learning. And that makes it complete. The learning is complete only when you have some kind of benefit when you accrue. When you go to an industry, start working there, be a consultant, and therefore it is not for the examination. Remember this very carefully. You don't read guides, you don't read Medicam workbooks, you don't read all-in-ones. Days are not for that. You are in a professional college. You read the textbooks and you apply what has been learned. And that is what I mean by an interface. An academia, your college, and the industry. You can't alienate one from the other. And that's the first point, which is the key point I want to make. The whole world is talking about project-based learning. PBL everywhere. What is PBL all about? It is about the application of what has been learned. We are not limited to gaining the knowledge. That is preposterous. If you only gain the knowledge, it's only the cognitive development. You have so much of knowledge, but you are not employable. It sounds ridiculous. And therefore, you do a project, you have learned something, you apply it, and you can probably, like I wish that you should develop a prototype, that you should take some patents for that, you should innovate something, and you should get an idea, like ideate it and incubate it, and see that you are an entrepreneur. Therefore, project-based learning is the crux of the story. And many times I have seen in several engineering colleges, they buy projects. And that is a ridiculous thing. And a project is not a waste of time. The purpose of spending your time in an engineering college is all about doing a project. It's an application. Don't be limited to the theory. Gaining the knowledge finds a manifestation only when you start doing a project. And I also want to talk about the faculty members. They're all proficient in that, in this outcome-based learning. What is that my students have produced after learning this one? So the faculty members, they're all trained. They have competencies. They look at outcome-based learning. Let me tell you something about this one. There are three words which sound similar: outcome, output, and impact. I repeat, outcome, output, and impact. Outcome is what comes immediately after learning. Output comes when you start applying that in your domain. And impact is what way the industry, that the organization got benefit out of your working there. And therefore, your lecturers, they're very keen about seeing what is my student doing here? What is the outcome? What is that he has learned immediately from my teaching here? I have to tell you something honestly here. We have forgotten completely the word teaching in all the professional colleges. And let me substantiate my claim why I have told this. Because students are learning from different sources. It is not just one faculty member in the class. They are learning. They refer a book in the library. They do an experiment in the laboratory. They do a project in the industry. They browse the net. There are a number of videos available by expert lecturers available for the students of engineering, and they can ask their seniors and all. And therefore, my point is, students are learning. It is not teaching. Remember that it is not one faculty member Who is doing all that? The students own the responsibility of learning from numerous resources, like deploying all of them. And therefore, when you're in a professional college, don't expect the lecturers to tell you everything. You should own the responsibility. You can read a book. Probably the lecturers will give you the list of that, the bibliography and all that. Refer to the books, do some projects, and do some experiments in the laboratory, and go to the industry and make sure whether it works or not, whether your understanding is right or not. And that's the point in understanding now. And the next one that you get here is that occasionally NITs have got a provision to send you for maybe 10 to 15 days, they send you to some industry. We call them internships. Many times they're paid internships. You are paid to spend about 15 days in an industry and you learn something while working. And that is how NITs and IITs keep you ready for a job. It is not that you are all the time learning and all that. So you have an internship where you are working and where you are, like sometimes with pay, sometimes without pay, you are working on, an actual project, a real-time project. And that is how wonderful it is. Like when you go out of the institution, after your passing out parade, I tell you, you are industry ready. You don't feel you are a stranger to start working something. You are ready because you've been exposed to the kind of work, of course, that you're going to see in the industry. The next point I tell you, something which is rather more interesting. The textbooks are all the time, they're not complete. There are so many updates for that. Even your lecturers must have studied 10 years ago, 20 years ago and all that. But the industry has got so many heads up, so many updates taking place. And therefore, you also should have an eye for the research. And there must be, and there should be, like in all NITs, a strong R&D center where people are updating their skills and sometimes questioning the veracity of the text and developing the new models and thinking about what is that the latest going on today. It is not what I learned 10 years ago that matters today. And today, what form has it taken? What are the developments which are coming in the field? And therefore, there must be a strong R&D center in all the NITs, and there is, and all the students must take advantage of it. Should go to R&D center and see the latest developments. It is not my textbook was written 20 years ago, but I'm not convinced with that. And what I want is, yes, R&D, do some research. Can I replace this part by some other part? Can I use some other material? Can I find an alternative for this? Is this right today? Is this cost effective? Is this, does this need a kind of modification? Can I do some kind of fabrication for this and see a better product? And you are constantly on a lookout. You are not preparing for the exam for any more. You are not looking at 100 on 100. If anybody talks about 100 and 100, you are at the wrong place. You should get only 60%, 70%, and find out what mistakes you've done and develop on that. And your question papers must be challenging. And ultimately, your R&D is going to give you the sense of satisfaction. And you are going to do wonders where you have an R&D center, which is, a functionality is very, very important of that. A very active R&D center. And you all become active members there. You learn, you try, and you develop, and you think of making some changes and accommodating something different there and all. And the next one is having done something. This point is important. Having done something, you should prepare a paper. You should write a paper. This is your research paper. And tell to the world, this is what I have done. This is how I have improvised. This is how I have developed my prototype. This is how I am going to get a commercial aspect of this one. And your paper publication, when you have a conference, you go and present your paper. And when it's an open house, when you have questions posed by your audience, face the questions. I want to tell you something here. You should be able to give a presentation on what you have done, for which you need strong communication skills. And therefore, when you prepare a research paper, taking help of your faculty members, when there is a conference, a symposia, a tech fest or anything, when you go and present the paper, this is what I've done and I've got the results. And this is, like the product I have made, I have developed and all that. And I tell you, you may be facing a number of questions from your audience. And I tell you, that is where you display and demonstrate, and it is your talent there. And therefore, get ready for your paper presentations. Do your research. Learn anything in such a way that it should surpass all the expectations of the people, the faculty members, and it represents all the authenticity of that. The next one is, in case some of you, I don't know if I am right to mention about this one, you come from rural background, nowhere called urban. You come from rural backgrounds where English was not spoken, but you must develop your English language as quickly as possible. If you are not good at your language, that is going to impact all the subjects. You don't understand when you read the textbook. You don't understand when you see a video. You don't understand when your lecturer is talking about something in the class. And therefore, if your language is not up to the mark, if your communication skills are not up to the mark, and that can be very challenging to you. And therefore, immediately, what best can be done is taking, say, 1 month's time, 2 months' time, apart from the college subjects, do something to improve your language and impregnate several resources, imbue them. This is not a conundrum, no puzzle. It's a simple English language is essential for you. And that can really make all the difference in your education at an NIT. Let me honestly tell you, it's a game changer. Your communication skills, what you have honed in the first 2 months here, are going to change the way you look at your course. And I tell you, you may be attending several workshops, you may be attending several industry visits, you may be going somewhere to another college for a competition, and you may be attending a conference, maybe by some university or the other. You also go to some symposia and where experts deliver their lectures. But let me tell you one thing there. You are going to document that. You write a professional journal. You write a diary where you record everything. And that can be a book, textbook for you, how you are doing the course. And let me tell you, whatever is happening in an engineering college, let that be documented in black and white in a book and write down, this is the place I have visited. I heard this lecture. These are the key points. Okay, I attended this tech fest. I watched the demonstration of all these models. This is what I have learned. Nobody would tell you, remember this very carefully. You should own that responsibility, and wherever you go outside, you have to document that. You have to document that. It's a record for you. And in fact, if it is possible, of course, you just type it out later and file it somewhere. But I tell you one thing, all this is going to become your asset once you go out. This can be a testimonial for you when you're going to apply for your education elsewhere. When you go to US universities, your journal is one of the reviewing points. And it tells you how you are a keen observer. And next point I want to tell you, when you are listening to somebody, maybe in the class or elsewhere, and take notes. And see, Cornell University has developed a method of taking notes. We call it in the international schools Cornell notes. That's a note-taking method. And developed some content repository. When you are writing your notes, and it can be scribbling, don't worry about it. You can write fair notes later. But you have developed a content repository, a content repertoire. And that is what is essential. You can't think of ignoring a single point. Everything is essential, documented. And I want all the students who have joined NIT Tadepalligudam, Andhra Pradesh, you should be surpassing the expectations of even the students at premier IITs. And you should be better placed tomorrow than your counterparts in IITs. I tell you one thing, particularly those who join IITs, they see the world there. They see a heterogeneous group. They see people coming from different ethnic cultures. They see people of contrasting competencies and efficiencies. Exactly in the same way, I don't underrate the NIT ambience. It must be equally good. In fact, some of you, those who feel that you missed your IIT, you can do much better here. You also can be competitive in what you're doing at this NIT. I wish you all the very best. My next point here is educational institutions, particularly, should have problem-solving sessions. There shouldn't be any kind of errors there. Every day, every class is a predominantly is a problem-solving session. It is not learning for something. See, in most of the premier institutions, if you go to US universities, they just give you a problem. They say, come and solve it. You deploy all the resources you've got, all the methods you've learned. And therefore, your classroom is something where the problem solving and the critical thinking are nurtured. And ultimately, you find a solution for that. And there is absolutely no room for errors. And that is what is important, actually. You have to minimize them. You have to minimize your errors. You can't think of, like, okay, plus or minus in the laboratory conditions and all. And therefore, my point is zero margins for error. The next one is the class must participate. And there must be discussion in the classroom. And sometimes the discussions turn pretty hostile. There must be fierce class participation. Everybody is listening and participating. Students are engaged. No one is sitting idle in the class. No one is passive in the class. No one is simply whiling away the time. Class participation. And whenever you are given some assignments, and that can beautify the sharpest brains, you should put a lot of efforts. I want to tell you, those who have heard about LIPSNA, where all these IAS officers are trained, they do assignments. They sleep at 2 o'clock in the wee hours in the night. They do assignments. Okay. And so doing an assignment is putting it on the paper what you have learned. Answering a question, a written assignment. And you should have brains. You apply the brains and write those assignments. And sometimes by the time you sleep, the date changes. I repeat my point once again to all my youngsters here. The date should change when you go to bed. And there must be quizzes, written quizzes, and your faculty members will take care of that. Oral quizzes, written quizzes with a bone-jarring regularity. Every 3 days, 4 days, there is a quiz. You are tested. You are pounded. And ultimately, and you are made a gem. Okay, all the quizzes with all the tension, how many marks you're going to get in the quiz and all that, whether your team is winning or not, whether you're individually doing well or not. And there can be small groups of students in the college there, and they are called clusters. And a cluster analysis, what does your group, you know, it has done and all that. So cluster analysis, there can be group discussions. So in a way, let me tell you one thing: don't prepare for your campus placement. Every period you are preparing for a campus interview in case you are preparing for that. In case you are preparing for something else, like, for your core engineering and going higher engineering, you want to go to your US university and do otherwise you are doing some online education. And for all the things, of course, group discussions and NITs will prepare you for that. Both subject and general discussions. And you develop the communication skills when you are participating in the discussion. And there are case studies. Come on, if this is the problem in the machine, how I'm going to resolve that? So that is what you're going to learn. Like in case studies you will get, and you will be giving presentations. And make use of every opportunity you are going to get to give a presentation. Don't shy away. Go there, give a presentation. Let people laugh at you. But let me tell you, that is how people learn. You may be mocked at. People may say this is, this is not the right way and all that. But I tell you, when you are learning, people can ridicule your grit. But you should have a ruthless determination, a merciless resolve, and say that, yes, I can do it. And I want to tell you something here. I am against any motivational lecture. No one will tell you, chalo, you can do it, you are good and all that. I tell you that you are not good at it. Take it as a challenge and prove me wrong. I tell you my point once again clearly. I tell you that it is not your cup of tea. Then you should involve and do it well and tell me, sir, we have done it. You said we can do it. You said we can do it. But you tell me tomorrow, sir, we have done it. You said we can't. But yes, we can. And that is what I want actually. Don't expect motivation from someone else. Don't go for any personality development courses. Who are they to tell you that you have to do it? You should take the responsibility. You are at one of the finest places. You are privileged to be at an NIT. That's an opportunity many were denied, and you have got an opportunity. That's an opportunity where people are dreaming about it. You have realized the dream. You have entered the portals of NIT, which is your prerogative. Come on now. Take advantage of that. It is one of the finest places you can ever think of. You have reached, you have entered the portals, and you have best of the faculty members available. NITs don't recruit on an ordinary people, average lecturers and all that. They're picked up for their experience, for their qualifications, for their exposure, for their industry experience. And such strong faculty members are guiding you, are mentoring you. How lucky you are. How lucky you are. I'm really envious sometimes. We didn't have all those facilities. Though I have my qualification from University of Cambridge, worked for Oxford and all that. I tell you, you are really lucky. And you are going to be leaders in your domains, in your fields. You are going to rule the world tomorrow. Even I don't mind talking to the teachers a bit, of course. You're all knowledge workers. Guide your students. Give them opportunities. Encourage them. Give them problems. Throw some challenges at them. And you, with your students, that cohort, are going to innovate. And that will be a product which has come from NIT Andhra Pradesh. I want to tell you one thing. Most of the US universities, when research is done, funding is never a problem. Lot of money is dumped for the research projects. And they give it free. Remember this very carefully. And they feel proud to say, this has come from our university. This product is from our university. This software is from us. This simulation is from us. This Java applet is from us. This video is from us. They feel proud to, produce that. And therefore, all the faculty members at NIT, they're going to be great mentors. And they're all co-learners along with you. And they're going to produce something great. And you you append your signature on that. This is from NIT IAP. You show that this is an excellent product. And append your signature on that, say, this is my product. This is from NIT Tadepalli. This is done by students there and guided by the faculty members. And therefore, NIT Andhra Pradesh is going to make a mark in the field for the research, for the innovation, and for the quality education, which is matchless. And you have to set a benchmark. This is my request to all the faculty members. This being a new institution, I want to tell you something important. The first batch students or the second batch students are the ones who are going to create an image for the institution. Therefore, it is not easy. Remember that. If the college is 20 years old, 25 years old, there are many seniors you have proved. Your students are everywhere in any part of the globe. But this case is different. Your students, your institution is a toddler. But remember, you're all seasoned. You're all experienced lecturers. But your institution is a new one. And therefore, you should be on the toes and produce an image, build an image for NIT. And people tomorrow should leave IITs and come to join NITs. And that kind of quality education, and you should provide them. And all the students, I also want to tell you one thing. If you have studied in government institutions, not so privileged and all that, you should be net savvy. You should be able to get everything that is available from the net because it's a huge source. It's a huge source for the engineering college students. Let me honestly tell you one thing. You have lectures provided by the government. Your lecturers will tell you about the SWAYAM. Your lecturers will tell you about NPTEL. And any engineering student, if you want to learn about any subject, any module of any particular course, videos are freely available. I repeat my point for all the students here. You have videos available. And therefore, you have a dual advantage. You should understand the dichotomy here. You are listening to your lecturers, experienced lecturers in the classroom. But at home, you also can see a video of an IIT professor. All the lectures, well recorded. What an advantage it is for you. A dual advantage. And that is going to supplement. And ultimately, your learning is phenomenal. I repeat my point. Any NIT student, your learning is going to be phenomenal because you have multiple resources. And that multi-learning environment would probably put you in a very comfortable position when you seriously take up that. You are an industry-ready person. After 4 years, I tell you one thing. many companies, they come to NITs to recruit people. You call it campus placement. And I want you to create a situation where you don't go to a company asking them, can you accommodate me? Go to a number of companies and all that. But instead, number of companies should ask you to join. I repeat my point. When you complete your engineering course, there must be 8 companies coming to your campus and requesting you to join. And they do the bidding there. Come on, we will give you this much, we will give you this much. And you take up the highest bid. It can be 1 crore and nothing less than. Prepare for a day. Your salary at the 21st year for you is not less than 1 crore per annum. In INR, I'm talking about. And therefore, I want everybody to take it a serious challenge. Get ready in such a way that you are picked up in the auction. There is an auction for you. And somebody says, come on, I'll give you 50 lakhs. Another one says, come on, I'll give you 60 lakhs. And see, the auction is going up. And ultimately you say, come on, I will join there. And where should you join? Remember this, your first job is for learning and also earning. A good package, a fabulous package, where all that, a fabulous package where you get more than what you expect. You can buy anything you want to buy. And apart from a learning experience, at the same time, a fabulous package. And that is a lethal combination. A great learning opportunity. A big company is inviting you. Come on, join our team. And at the same time, and so much of money, which can give you the freedom to buy anything you wanted. 4 years will run very fast. You are going to embark on a profession and which will just prepare you for the life. And education also is going to have a complete revamp. You will, during your tenure at NIT, you are going to talk about deep learning, neural networks and all that. Machine learning. It's a different method of learning. We are talking about artificial intelligence. And a part of that is machine learning, deep learning. And we are talking about the reality. You can design a machine and demonstrate it in the class. It's a virtual reality. It's an augmented reality. Together you call it a mixed reality. All that, there's so much of content stored. You call it a cloud computing. You write so many examinations, the results can be given in a jiffy. Big data analytics. Okay, and I also want to tell you something. A serious term that you are going to see. A serious term that you're going to see is can you hear me? Can somebody confirm?
Now you are back, sir. We lost you for a couple of seconds.
Okay, okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that information. So my point here is cloud computing, big data analytics, deep learning, machine learning, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, all these things will be put to use for your learning. You learn in a different way. Your faculty members will have training in all these things and they come prepared and they teach you in a different way with all the new methodology, with all the new delivery mechanism. They integrate technology in teaching. And I tell you, you learn much, much faster. And remember, I want to tell you something which is even more important. You are going to talk about blended learning. I repeat my point. Blended learning means it is not just from one source. You are going to use a number of sources. You learn at home, you learn in the college, you learn in the industry, when you go there, a library, laboratory, and all that. The combination of all this, a conglomerate of all the things, we call them blended learning. And you are in that era where blended learning is taken the prominence. I want to tell you something interesting about US universities. Some of you may be planning to go out and go for your higher education, specialize in some subject, and do your master's programs in there and all. But let me tell you honestly one thing. Irene's book, okay, it's the name of a person, of course. 5 years ago, he gave a heads up. He said, starting from now, in another 5 years' time, please listen to this point. Half of the American universities will become bankrupt. I repeat my point. Half of the American universities will become bankrupt. They can't work if they're not viable projects because the students prefer online education. Very few students want to go to US and for the campus life. And therefore, you are in this transition period, you should think of online education. You can do a number of courses. Being in India, doing a course in the prestigious universities outside India. My point I want to tell you, if you want to do a wonderful course, there is absolutely no need for you to go to US or Australia or UK and do that course. You can still be in India and do an advanced course in any subject. How is it possible? Online education. And therefore, make yourself comfortable for that online education, where you can do a number of courses and while being at an IT third level. You can do short-term courses. I expect you that. If you can't adapt to these vicissitudes of time, you may probably left in jeopardy. If you are not trying to change to the environment accordingly, and probably you will be left behind. And therefore, it's a time to race. It's a time to race. It's a time to keep abreast of the technology and the learning nuances. And what I expect you is to do that. And therefore, be prepared to learn in different modes. It can be online education, it can be offline education, it can be any other mode which is going to come in future. And all the stakeholders, this is a heads up for you. This is an advance notice for you. Now, I don't want to deal with this Edgar dates and all that. But the last point I want to tell you, if you can give a demonstration, do something and present it. That is the best method of learning. Hit a 90% you can remember. You give a presentation, do something and tell your class, explain that to them. This is how I have done. This is the material I have used. This is the material I have used. And it is so wonderful. It is so wonderful that you are ready for the industry when you can demonstrate what is done by you. Now, for my young friends here, I want to tell you something. If someone tells that this is wrong, you should have done it in a different way, don't feel bad. You need those people, not those who congratulate you. There are many people who tell you it's super project. But I tell you, there is someone who gives you the right feedback. No, you should have improved this here. You should have used this one. You should have done it in an alternate method. You need those people who can question your ineptitude, who can challenge you, who can ridicule your determination. And you need guides, take the help of your faculty members. Be friend with them. Allow them to be your mentors. And wish them good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and all that. And take advantage of their knowledge. They're all heads full of knowledge. And if you don't take the advantage of that, probably you will miss so much. So meet your faculty members as frequently as possible and make sure that you learn from them. You learn from their experience. Don't expect motivational speeches. If anybody, I always say, I don't know whether this is right here or not. If any teacher tells you that this is a wonderful project, you've done extremely well, change the teacher. I repeat this point. If any teacher tells you, okay, they can encourage, but they should not use superlatives, no adjectives there. If they say this is wonderful and no one has done like this is one of the finest presentations I've seen in my, you don't need such teachers. They should give you your mistakes. They should tell you how you can improve it. And they should be the right mentors. And then you are sharpening your talents there. Then people were talking about English language. Even I had the same problem. Having come from West Godavari district, from a remote place where English was not heard at all. Today I train English teachers at many places all over India and elsewhere. I learned. But let me honestly tell you, you can learn much better and much faster today because you got technology. I learned my English without using Google and Wikipedia. But today you can learn English much faster. You can listen. There are listening games. There are mixer groups where people of different countries, they talk. You can listen. There are interviews. There are tests. There are many worksheets. You can try and learn English. And there are news sites like, Voice of America, or BBC, or whatever it is. You can update your current affairs and you also can learn English. Your text readers, you give your PDF file or a Word document, it reads for you. Don't ask anybody. They give you with the authentic pronunciation of the language. Grammar check softwares are coming. Your spell check softwares are coming. And you have stories with music. There are grammar games where you can check your grammar. There are funny conversations. You can chat with your machine. You don't need a friend at all. I also want to tell you one thing. You don't need a friend to chat. You can chat with the system. Download the app, start chatting. And therefore, you all have to think of learning English language as early as possible. You can't afford to waste any length of time. A quick focus before you start your engineering lectures very seriously, develop your English language very quickly, as early as possible. English language is very, very important. I want to tell you something. I just want to pinpoint. Some of you feel that you know very good English. You have come from English medium background and maybe your parents are well educated. You must have heard a lot of English and all that. But the problem is your diction, your vocabulary. And many people who feel that they're good at English, they know only 400 words, maybe 500 words. But a 10th class student should know 1500 words and a graduate should know 3000 words. And you know only 400 or 500 words. You use the same words, use the same kind of sentences and all. And therefore, it is not enough if you know limited words. You should think of improving the vocabulary, and therefore you can comfortably express whatever idea you have in the mind. For that, what should you do? You must read a lot. a lot of reading general books. Don't think that you belong to engineering stream. Read some economics, read some philosophy books, read some psychology, and read some books on Indian history. I want to tell you something interesting here. Professor Walter Levin of MIT, Professor Walter Levin of MIT, and he did his research in nuclear physics. And one of the finest faculties, of course, is not working for MIT now. Of course, he's a retired guy. But remember, he has also his master's in ancient history of America. Where is physics? Where is history? This is what we mean by interdisciplinary approach. If you want to be an IAS officer at some point of time in your life, don't limit yourself to engineering. Read some general books, and general books will improve your language. They give you the sentence structures, they give you the vocabulary, and they make you a comprehensive person. They give you the perspectives, and you look from all angles when you are given a problem. And that is what is essential for those who intend to become a civil servant. I want to tell you one thing. Some of you who are interested to become civil servants, doing some IAS or IPS or your IRS, IFS, whatever it is, my point is very, very simple. It is a mind game. They don't need your complete detailed knowledge. They just ask you, what are you going to do with that knowledge? How are you going to analyze it? How are you going to apply it? How are you going to plan something? How are you going to do a meticulous planning, a flawless execution? And that is what is required. And therefore, some of you who are interested in continuing engineering, all the best. And George Bush Jr. was the president of America once. He was addressing Yale University, where he was an alumni of that. Then he said, if you are getting grade A, it's fantastic, a Congressional Medal of Honor, and no problem. A grade, no problem. If you get C grade, don't worry, you can become the president of America. Because he got only C grade in his, during the, many people have failed actually, including your, Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or whatever it is, like they didn't do their education well. And my point here is, even if you don't do well at MIT, you will come out and start your own industry and take people from MIT as your employees. I hope you have understood what I'm trying to. Even if you don't do well at your MIT, when you come out, because you have a knowledge about your knowledge, it's so good, and you can be an entrepreneur. You can be an entrepreneur, and you can provide jobs to n number of people. And therefore, my point is, you are not there just to find a job. You are there even for a bigger purpose in your life, maybe providing jobs. NITs will prepare you even for a bit of management, administration, and taking it to the industry level. And whatever you are doing there, the projects, you scale up. And that's an industry by itself. And therefore, you all should look at the viability of your projects, how an industry can put it on a larger scale. And that is important, looking at that from commercial point of view. And therefore, some of you are going to do that. And therefore, my point is, it is not just for a job you're gone there. Like, you have gone there to provide jobs. You want to be a leader in the industry. And joining an IT, it's not the end of the game. It's not the beginning of the end. Perhaps I can tell you, this is the end of the beginning. You just have begun your course, your life, your career, your opportunities. This is just a beginning. You are on day one in the college. I want to tell you, after 4 years, you are a completely groomed personality. Your knowledge wise, your ability wise, your competencies, and the efficacy with which you handle a situation, they're going to be phenomenal. NIT is a place where the lives are made. They're not just giving you the education, they're making your life. And they're going to carve a niche in your life. And you say, tomorrow, it's all because of that NIT. Whatever I am today, it is all because of that. And when you stand on a platform anywhere in the world, you would take the name of your NIT, which has taken you to that facade, and say that, yes, all that is because of NIT. NIT has prepared me. Like, if I am today in this condition, thanks to my NIT. And that is what you are going to tell on the platform, which is a days of a global platform. Okay, so my next point is, you start writing when I said, use appropriate words. Don't try to change language and all that. Use appropriate words. Construct sentences which are epigrammatic. Beautiful sentence structures without the complexity. And follow the rules of the grammar. That's what we use, the syntax of the language. You must, computer students, of course, you must have heard about the syntax. The syntax of the language. You follow that. You should have the command on that. And you should have a comprehensive knowledge about the subject you're talking about, a compendious knowledge of the subject. And use a limited number of words. Don't try to be verbose and superfluous in using the words. Succinct, limited number of words. And that's a phenomenal language. So you hone your writing skills. When you go for your civil services, the descriptive papers when you're doing, people say, oh my God, what kind of English is this? Your ideas are important. Remember, it is not the number of pages you write. It is the quality that matters, never the quantity. Particularly when you're writing your descriptive papers for your civil services. And what is paramount is the quality of the language and the way you solve a problem, the way you look at the things, your perspectives, and that is important. And NIT is going to teach you that. It is going to teach you to look at a particular thing from different angles. As you learn in your engineering models, manipulative, you are learning lateral view, aerial view, and a bird view, and all that. Exactly in the same way, you are going to have the multiple views of a problem. And I want you to make sure that your English language is just admittedly very good, and people love to listen to you, and hone those skills. Actually, language skills are very, very important in the world. Sometimes your presentation can give you a job or an admission or a scholarship. I repeat my point. However good you are, if you can't present yourself, the result is going to be obnoxious. And therefore, my contention here is that give a presentation in such a way, and people love to listen to you, and they look at the knowledge you've got, and that's going to be an awesome performance. Like wherever you give a presentation, a written or a verbal or whatever it is. And you should be able to give a speech in such a way that it's succinct in nature. The stylistic choice of words you're picking up, the poetic expression of abstract ideas, the coherence, eloquent flow of ideas, and substantiating with facts and figures, your enthralling mellow voice, the crispy connections you're making, the flowery language, and the rhetorical in making your intention comprehensible. That is what your speech is all about. A language which is just a superlative, and it is metaphorically so good. And I tell you, literally and allegorically, and people love to listen to you all the time. And that should be the language that you're going to develop in your professional college now. And I just want to tell you, speak English, dress Italian, drive German, drink Russian, smoke Cuban, eat Arabic, love Spanish, dance Latin. But in the end, always be loyal to the country. India is our country. India is on the progressive path because of engineers like you. India is going to do wonders. India is an young country. Average age of an Indian is just say in late 20s. Whereas in other countries, it is just say beyond 40. And therefore, we have so much of scope in India, and you're all there to lead the world. I repeat my point, you have to lead the world. I didn't like one point there, dance, Latin, and this French, they say. Okay, so you can use all of them, but at the same time, my point is India, stay in India and use your knowledge, use your experience, use all your competencies in our country. And India is going to be a superpower with the contribution of the people from NIT Andhra Pradesh. I repeat my point. This is my expectation. I wish you all the very best. My point here is India is going to be a superpower, and you are a part of that group and that contingent who are going to make India a superpower. You are not there to witness, you are going to be participants there. You are going to, it's not witnessing that. You are going to take India further, being products of a premier institution like NIT Andhra Pradesh. You all have a big responsibility to take our country further. And wherever you are, I want to tell you one thing. Mark my words. Tomorrow, I say some of you, maybe many of you, you will have breakfast in one country, lunch in another country, maybe dinner time you'll be in another country because you're so busy. And I also want to tell you one thing. If you get in some of the finest companies in the world, I repeat my point. I repeat my point. If you get in some of the finest companies in the world, those companies will send you to another country to enjoy and rejuvenate on the weekend. I repeat this point. If you join a good company, your Saturday and Sunday, you will be another country to enjoy. You have to rejuvenate. You have to energize yourself. And that will be your condition. I wish you only one thing. Prepare for a day. Breakfast in one country, lunch in another country, by dinner in another country, at least on some days of your life. You're so busy you will be, and for the knowledge you've got, for the experience you got, the world is looking at you. The world has expectations from you. The country India has got expectations from you. You're all going to be great leaders who is going to rule the world. And therefore, I don't mind taking a few questions from you. And otherwise, thank you so much for the opportunity. I take your questions in case you have a few of them.
Dear students, I'm going to unmute you all. If there are any questions, please kindly pose them to the speaker. You can unmute yourself and try to speak.
Uh,
Sir, I think there is some question from Ashmi Vardhan Kundrapu. Hello, sir. I have a goal project which I want to do in my 4 years of BTech. But the project I would like to do is hardly less related to my branch, and I also do not have any material to do that. Should I compromise in that goal or should I work hard on that?
Sir, shall I answer?
Sure, sir. Please go ahead.
Uh, I- Please stick to your project. You have wonderful mentors there. You can do whatever you want, and don't compromise at any stage in the life. And though it is not your branch, but make sure that you have the basic knowledge of that branch. And then you have wonderful mentors, and it will take you see the reality of your project. I wish you all the very best.
Good afternoon, sir. I am Kaushal Tiwari.
Please go ahead.
My question is, sir, when we set up the goals for ourselves, sometimes we may not be able to complete it due to problems.
Okay.
And that sets up a domino effect, which leads to us losing on our goals daily.
Okay.
So I have the motivation to do whatever I set up for myself daily, but I lack the discipline to complete it. How should I deal with this problem?
Kaushal Tiwari, I want to tell you one thing. I don't have any belief in goal setting. Okay, number one. Goals are dynamic in nature. They keep changing. You think of getting 80 marks, it's your goal. But let me tell you, you can get 90. Because when you set a goal, probably that can put some kind of stress on you and you may not be able to achieve. But I tell you, make yourself comfortable and you are going to achieve your goals and surpass them. Get what more than what you are expecting. And take it easy. Life is not a rehearsal, it's a one-time show. And certainly you can achieve. Don't start with an adverse note, a negative note that what happens if I don't reach my goal. I tell you, you reach your goals and you go beyond. I wish you all the very best.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. I see Ujjwal Kumar is talking.
So the next question is from G Shivaji. My goal is to become software engineer, but I got the seat in Triple E branch. Did any suggestion for this, sir?
You can ask any of your faculty members there, and that's what is happening in the IT industry. But let me tell you one thing. People who are joining the IT industry, unfortunately, they are getting trained afresh and they are leaving their core branches and they're going for a fresh start. All the jobs in the IT sector available today, they're all entry-level jobs. They're not challenging. I repeat my point. All the jobs available in the IT sector in India today, they're all entry-level jobs. Entry-level jobs. And therefore, if it is a wonderful IT job, go as a leader with your management skills, taking up heavy projects, but don't go for entry-level jobs. Your EEE is going, Triple E is going to provide wonderful opportunities for you, and your faculty members will develop interest in that. Okay, next. There's someone asking in the chat box also, but I'm not able
Yes, sir. I'm going to read them for you. Others Varshne, this is the question from him. Good evening, sir. You mentioned how having a sophisticated vocabulary in English is very important in today's day and age. What are your thoughts on the focus being shifted to regional languages in the earlier classes in national education policy?
My God. See, learn English does not mean unlearn Telugu. Remember that. Okay. And you can handle any number of languages. And let me tell you honestly, I can write a poem in Telugu. And I tell you this in Telugu. మీరు నాకు ఏ ఛందస్సు ఇచ్చినా ఏ వృత్తంలో ఒక పద్యపాదం వ్రాయమన్నా వ్రాయగలుగుతాను. తెలిసిందా? నేను నేను తెలుగులో కూడా నేను రాస్తుంటాను, నేను ఇంగ్లీష్ లో కూడా నేను ఒక లాంగ్వేజ్ నేర్చుకున్నప్పుడు రెండో లాంగ్వేజ్ బ్యాక్ బర్నర్ అవుతుందని అనుకోకండి. యూ కెన్ బి గుడ్ ఇన్ ఆల్ ద లాంగ్వేజెస్ and there is absolutely no problem. Perhaps if your Telugu language is good, you can master English much better, much easier, and much faster.
Excellent answer, sir. We should not forget our mother. Sir,
no, also don't do that.
Yes, sir. There is one general question. It is from two of the students, Sai Sahit and Ritu Kumari, on YouTube Live. Sir, who is your inspiration? Please name the person.
I tell you, like the circumstances. Okay, and let me tell you honestly one thing. I came to Hyderabad after my graduation. I did my B.Ed and joined a school as a teacher. And my mathematics was terribly good, but the problem was English. And my principal gave me a warning. Rama Krishna, either you learn your English language or you quit the job. So circumstances force you to learn something. When it is a necessity, you learn. And therefore, I don't attribute my inspiration to people, though there are many people. In fact, my father was a teacher. Okay, I don't attribute to people because there are many. But I tell you, a great learning takes place from the circumstances. When there is a need for you, when you want to make your parents happy, you can do anything for that. You can do anything for that. You can learn, you can be very serious, you can be responsible, and you can just do anything for that. And remember, I told you a little earlier, life is not a rehearsal. It is a one-time show. You are on the stage. Do it well. Yeah.
Sir, two general questions.
Please.
Would you consider reading comics also a part of reading?
Of course, yes. Of course, yes. I tell you one thing, like, see, you got a genre. You have to read books, I said. Then immediately comes, what kind of books? It can be a comedy, it can be a tragedy, it can be fiction, it can be literature, any kind of literature stuff. And therefore, if you like humor, comedy, and read such books, you can improve your language. Don't think that it is, in fact, you can unwind when there is so much of pressure on you, and you can read some humor and you can be comfortable. I tell you one thing, one point I want to make. It's very silly if you ask me, sir, when should I read? When should I get up? How should I read? What should I read? I tell you one thing, many IITians read in the verandas. They don't even sit. They take the book, they keep on moving, and the lamp posts and the verandas, and like sometimes they carry a book to the restroom, they read there and all that. So there is nothing so rigid about it. You read and you can take any kind of book. Comics can be your interest, no problem, absolutely no problem.
So there is another question from Ujjwal Kumar. Sir, we would like to crack UPSC. Do you think it is possible? If yes, please tell us how.
I say a strong yes. Why should I say no? See, when I have about, say, 100 IAS officers who are my students, I don't say it's not possible or anything. It's a mind game, I say. And I tell you, along with engineering, when you are reading some books for relaxation, you will be learning several things. Don't read it so seriously, not required. And I tell you, Ujjwal Kumar will join civil services in his first attempt. if only he says, yes, I should. And I tell you an easy way, because Ujjwal Kumar, he asked me, sir, how? He asked.
Yes.
I should tell you the way, actually, I should tell you in 2 minutes, I'll finish it up. How you can become a